Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back once again to Today in African History with Baba Shaka. I'm Baba Shaka, and today is March 28th, 2021. We are almost at the end of Women History Month. We've learned quite a bit this month about some of the women who have contributed to our history, but there's still so much more to learn. So, today, inshallah, let's take a look at a woman who, from her earliest days, had the ambition to soar above the conditions of segregated small town Texas at the turn of the 20th century. Fresh off the back-breaking hours in the cotton fields, Bessie Coleman would discreetly slip her foot on the scale beneath the day's haul to squeeze a few more pennies out of the foreman. At 18, she left for the Colored Agricultural and Normal University in Langston, Oklahoma, despite having only enough money to last one semester. At 23, she joined two of her older brothers in the big city of Chicago, where she trained as a manicurist and befriended the power players of the South Side's thriving African American community. But it wasn't until she endured the teasing of one of her combat veteran brothers, who ribbed her about the superiority of French women who knew how to fly planes, that Miss Coleman found a calling worthy of her sky high ambition. As detailed in Queen Bess' Daredevil Aviator, the would be pilot reached a dead end when it came to finding someone willing to train an African woman. Undeterred, she took French lessons to apply to one of the country's progressive flight programs and set sail for Europe in November 1920. At the Caudron Brothers Aviation School in Le Courtois, Miss Coleman trained on a rickety biplane that required careful inspection before each flight. Occasionally unable to understand her instructor, she bridged the communication gap by feeling the movements of the steering system that connected the front and back cockpits. After becoming the first African woman to receive a pilot's license from the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, Miss Coleman made a triumphant return to the United States in September 1921. However, there were few professional opportunities available for pilots except for those who engaged in stunt flying. So soon, she returned to Europe for training in loop-de-loops, barrel rolls, and other aerial tricks. Bessie performed her first air show in Garden City, New York in September 1922, its success leading to engagements in Memphis and Chicago the following month. Now, having hustled her way to prominence, Miss Coleman understood the importance of a carefully tailored appearance and self promotion. Known as Queen Bess or Brave Bess in the press, she cut an impressive public figure with her long coat, leather boots, and Sam Brown officer's belt, and often embellished her credentials during interviews. But there was no need to exaggerate her pride in her race, as she talked openly about opening a flight school for Africans in America. It was the same pride that caused her to storm off the set of a movie based on her life story over her refusal to play, quote, the Uncle Tom stereotypes. After months of tooling around in borrowed planes, Miss Coleman finally had enough money to purchase a Curtiss JN4, known informally as a Jenny, from an Army depot in Los Angeles in early 1923. Shortly afterwards, she was en route to a show at a local fairground when the plane's motor stalled at 300 feet and plummeted to a crash landing. Despite sustaining a broken leg and fractured ribs, she pleaded with the doctor at the crash site to quote unquote patch her up so she could continue with her scheduled engagement. Grounded for the next year and a half, Miss Coleman eventually found more sponsors and resumed regular performances by mid 1925. That August, she was accompanied by the first known African woman to make a parachute jump. Now, after the same parachutist backed out of another gig, Miss Coleman strapped on the jumper's harness and did the deed herself. By this point, Miss Coleman had learned that she could consistently augment her earnings by giving lectures. She still yearned to open up her own flight school with the hope that a down payment on her next journey would get her one step closer to its realization. Now, having obtained full ownership of the plane the following spring, Miss Coleman prepared for a show in Jacksonville, Florida, as pilot William Wills delivered her prize from his base in Texas. Wills arrived later than expected as mechanical problems had prompted a pair of unscheduled stops. Now, after touching down at Jacksonville's Paxson's Field, other pilots cringed upon examining the Jenny's poorly maintained engine. Nevertheless, Miss Coleman was determined to press forward as usual, and she and the Wills went out for a test flight on the morning of April 30th, 1926. Her partner controlled the plane in the front cockpit. Miss Coleman sat in the back, unbuckled, so she could easily scan the ground for good jumping sites. According to witnesses, the plane suddenly accelerated a nosedive before flipping upside down at about 500 feet, and there was nothing to halt Miss Coleman's fall from the cockpit, and the 34-year-old trailblazer was instantly killed upon hitting the ground. Wills also died in the subsequent crash, and investigators soon discovered the loose wrench that had jammed the gears and caused the plane's uncontrollable behavior. Miss Coleman's death was treated in the way that was fitting at the time. Wills, who was white, earned most of the ink in major publications, with the Florida Times Union celebrating him for quote-unquote teaching Bessie how to fly. Right. But the aviatrix received her due from the black press, as well as a powerful send-off with memorial services in Jacksonville, Orlando, and Chicago, the latter presided over by famed activist Ida B. Wells. Miss Coleman never achieved her stated goal, but she made her mark on those who also drew inspiration from the endless sky. In 1929, African-American pilot William J. Powell established a flight school in her honor in Los Angeles, and in 1977, a group of female pilots based in the Midwest formed the Bessie Coleman Aviators Club. She was eventually honored with her own postage stamp in 1995 and enshrined in the National Aviation Hall of Fame in 2006. Long overdue recognition for a woman who was destined never to be forgotten. A shout out to all the women who have dared to break the mold and strike out in new directions. Once again, a mighty big thank you to all of you who have subscribed to this channel. Thank you for your continued support. To those of you who have not yet subscribed, please feel free to hit that subscribe button down below, right down below there. We need your support in order to continue bringing you these daily lessons. Please like and leave a comment down in the comment section. But most importantly, please share, especially with the young amongst us. So, until tomorrow, inshallah, this is Baba Shaka with Today in African History. Masalam.